It doesn't make Carmelo look good, right? But it also does show that these kids weren't fucking oh, my son was just such a nice fucking kid and he would never do something like this, and all that shit is kind of out the window.
I mean,
well, that's just your opinion.
Can you just admit?
Not necessarily. Doesn't show anything about what happened on the exact event that day. Prior history can dictate a pattern, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they were both hurling racial epithets at each other before this went down.
Well, I didn't say that that's the reason why anything happened, but what I am saying is, both sides have histories of being aggressors, right?
Right.
In this specific situation, one person was deemed to be an aggressor while everybody was trying to make it seem like, no, that's impossible that this person could be an aggressor in this situation, which, based on this, I believe is false.
Can you just admit that you're defending him because he's black?
No, that's not true. I've defended white people before.
All right, if you believe Karmelo Anthony should be free, then you should.
All right, did I say that, you dipshit? Is that something that I said, you fucking idiot? Is that what I said?
Yeah, idiot.
So what are you complaining about then? If you don't think he should be free, what are you complaining about?
He got too much time.
If you think he should be in jail, he's in jail. You should be
okay. Do you want me to answer?
Did you not hear his response? He literally just said he thinks he got too much time.
Okay, I didn't hear that.
Oh, okay.
Well, maybe open your ears.
I think he should have got. Maybe how much time do you? So
I think he should have got. I think he should have got 20. I think he should have. I think it should have got dropped down to manslaughter, and he should have got 20 years.
I think he should have. Maybe there's an argument that maybe he should have got crime of passion, or whatever it's called.
What?
What?
Crime of passion. They weren't lovers, dog. What the fuck are you talking
No,
about?
I understand. They have that in law. They have
second-degree murder.
Yeah,
second-degree murder.
Crime of passion is second-degree murder. It's like an actual legal term.
Yeah, I know what it is. It's commonly used for things like, the husband finds out his wife cheated and he beats her to death. He's not trying to beat her to death, but he fucking hits her so hard and so much she dies. Well, that's generally what it's referring to. It's like you're so enraged by something that you accidentally kill somebody.
It's
taking out a knife and stabbing somebody is not an accidental use of force.
Second-degree murder is still intentional. It's just not premeditated.
No, I don't think your opinion is crazy. I think that, I guess that's a fine opinion to have, but.
So I need an apology, gang. I need an apology.
I'm not going to apologize.
I would prefer for you to be a man and just apologize, bro.
Damn. Apologize to this black man.
I just misheard you, dude. That's it.
I'm sorry, Washed.
I didn't even insult you. I literally didn't insult you.
I'll take it. Okay, I'll thank you. What was that, Pika?
That's the same shit. Yeah, I've only ever heard crime of passion being used in like something sets you off to make you extremely angry or like out of like a fit of jealousy, which I don't think would apply in either of these circumstances.
So I will say, I don't think that Carmelo was like a good guy. Like based off of everything I said there, he was on some bullshit. I don't know. I find it kind of interesting because isn't like his attorneys like demanding all this shit that wasn't allowed to be showed at the first trial to be showed at the second? It'd be kind of funny if he ends up getting more time. I don't think so. It's unlikely. I mean, he already got 35 or whatever.
Yeah, that's a long time.
35. And then he's only gonna have to do half if he doesn't like fuck up while he's in there. But I still think he should have just had to do actual. I think he should have just had to do actual 10 in the box. That seems like reasonable.
I don't think that. I think 20 locked away from murdering somebody in cold blood is pretty reasonable.
I mean, you just make it sound so dramatic, dude.
That's not dramatic. That's not a dramatization of what happened. That's just exactly what happened. He fucking stabbed somebody in cold blood.
Right, but like if you just say, hey, like with no context, and you say that, people are gonna think, oh, well, nothing else happened outside of this kid stabbing other kids, when that's just not the case.
I mean, I'm pretty sure a court found that was the case.
No.
We argued this. We argued this when the trial was happening. That there's no way you can conceivably argue that pulling out a knife and stabbing it into somebody's abdomen isn't you trying to kill them.
Again, the thing is if somebody is closing the distance on you, I mean, again, I'm not expecting this dude to be John Wick and just, be like super efficient with this type of thing. We already like did the studies or whatever, the research, and it says that only like 30% of people, I think it was even less than that, die from being stabbed.
Oh my God. Yeah, you've brought this up before, that doesn't matter when employing a deadly weapon.
It's attempted. I mean, it's definitely stabbing somebody is definitely a attempted murder for sure. But in this case, it's like
In this case, he died.
I don't think he. Yeah, in this case, he dies because he gets stabbed in the chest. It's hard to prove that his intention was to stab this guy in the chest.
No,
he
it's
told
not.
him,
What do you mean?
As a matter, hang on.
no, hang on, wait.
Okay,
He
go ahead.
told
Go
the
ahead.
guy-
Go ahead.
he told the guy-
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
How you gonna pull my move? That's crazy.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead. No, I'm just doing what Washed Up has been doing for everybody for the last like a week.
Oh, okay.
All right,
Every time
so the
somebody's
thing
trying
is,
to talk, he just talks the entire time they're talking.
he told the guy.
Go ahead.
He told the guy.
Yeah.
He told the guy. Hey. Essentially, if you come up closer, right, something gonna happen to you. And the kid decided to call his bluff, bro. I don't feel bad. I just don't. It's something that shouldn't have happened. But do I feel bad for somebody? If somebody gives you a warning and you proceed, and then something happens to you, am I supposed to feel bad for you?
Yeah.
No. Why?
You can't just use a deadly weapon because you told somebody you're going to use a deadly weapon.
No, I'm
What are
not
you
saying
talking
you're
about?
allowed to. I didn't say he's allowed to. That's why I say he should still go to jail, right? But if the other person, what they did also caused the situation to get worse, I don't think it should be solely on me to take the brunt of the responsibility of what happened.
Once again, if I'm carrying a gun and you aggress on me and you don't have a weapon, and I say, hey, if you walk closer to me, I'm going to shoot you. Just because you decide to continue walking closer doesn't mean I'm now allowed to use deadly force on you, just because I told you I might.
Well,
How this works.
If you think I'm a threat, you absolutely are.
No.
I
Just to prove that you're a deadly threat.
want to talk about these details in this article for a second because, look, I think if these two kids got in trouble for spray painting, according to the article, the KKK using racial slurs, I do think that's bad. I don't know how much of that had to do with, the incident in question. But that being said, the list of Karmelo Anthony's transgression is amazing. I mean, look, these two kids got in trouble for spray painting racial slurs, and Karmelo Anthony is robbing people. He is threatening to kill people. He is carrying a gun. He is threatening, apparently did attack his actual girlfriend at some point in the past. And got in trouble for it. I mean, the amount of stuff that this dude is doing is, it's crazy.
But isn't there's literally evidence of a similar thing happened with Metcalf where they assaulted a girl, he punched her in the stomach while she was on the floor.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just saying that the amount of things against Karmelo is just, you have like two things against Metcalf here. And hold up, and let me just say this. And there's not a question about whether or not Metcalf killed somebody. Right? There's only a question about whether or not Karmelo Anthony killed somebody. So the idea that Metcalf might have been a troublemaker, let's just say he's a racist. Let's just say he's a raging racist. He doesn't like black people. Okay, great. That still has nothing to do with whether or not Karmelo Anthony decided to commit murder and to what degree and for what reason. So what I'm saying is, look, this behavior might show us that Metcalf is a racist, but he's not on trial for being a racist. But this behavior absolutely shows us that Anthony is in the position to commit murder. and has a history of doing things that
So,
seem very violent.
What is this? At previous track meets, when another student alerted Austin Metcalf that there was someone not on their team behind their bench while he was talking, Austin Metcalf reportedly said, "Kill that motherfucker."
What?
Yeah, but like,
It's literally in the
he's a-
same link that I posted.
yeah, motherfucker. But like, do you think that he literally meant kill that motherfucker, or he meant like beat the fuck out of that motherfucker?
I mean,
we're
verbally
taking
in court, it's going to mean the same shit. Oh, he just meant to say
Well, no,
this.
it's not.
You know,
It's not going to mean the same shit. There is hyperbole.
Again, why would
Yeah, it's a-
Carmelo Anthony's defense not use these talking points if they were
They
valid?
didn't allow them to. If you'd read the article, it said that very clearly.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
didn't allow him to.
Judge disallowed it.
Okay. And this was like one witness that said this?
No, this is a
court
combination. Again, if you'd read the
Austin
article,
Metcalf.
no, it says it's a combination of things that have been extracted from their phones, school records, etc. No, this is not
And prior
one thing.
interactions with the police.
And
Yeah.
then this
okay.
document state that Austin Metcalf was also suspended after he and another student were talking about bringing a gun to school.
Yeah, I agree, but we don't have Austin Metcalf killing anyone.
No, but that it's not about the who killed who. It's about it's the same thing that I told Bama, right? If I'm being aggressed, right, and my response to the person is, you know, from my perspective, hey, back up off of me, trying to de-escalate, and the person
Wasn't
still
trying to de-escalate.
aggresses me, I don't think that I should. He was.
He had his hand in his bag ready to pull a knife out.
Yeah,
That's
but
not
hold up,
de-escalation.
but hold up,
He's
but I
literally
don't
like,
listen.
"Try me,
I'm
bro."
not trying to make an argument
Aggressor,
about that. But hold up, but I'm not trying to make an argument about that. The jury has already decided on that. What I am showing here, or at least trying to show with this article that you posted, is that Carmelo Anthony is likely someone who would stab somebody in the chest. That's what I am saying. Like, who cares about if he aggressed or not aggressed? This was a fight that should have ended in a fight. And it was a fight that ended in someone
Wasn't a
getting
fight.
stabbed in a chest, and the person who did the stabbing is someone who obviously has a history of wanting to be violent, being violent, threatening to be violent, threatening to kill
Right.
people, threatening to shoot them,
Right.
carrying a gun, robbing people. What I am showing here, what I am saying,
Right.
is this article very clearly shows that this kid was bound to do what he did.
Also,
I disagree.
to Washup's point, which I think doesn't help his point, he's right. This wasn't a fucking fight. It wasn't like hands were being thrown and a knife came out and somebody got stabbed. It was literally two people confronting each other. Never even got to the point where it was a fist fight. It was just a kid pulling a knife and stabbing another guy.
Right.
Two people confronting each other. One person came out of nowhere confronting the other person. It's not like they had some long, thing going on.
They don't need to have a long storied history with each other. If I meet you on the street and I've never met you but the day before my life, but I get in your face and I start confronting you about something, I don't need to have a storied history with you for it to be a confrontation.
So, and here's something else. On the same day that this happened, the exact day he stabbed him, he's sending a text message at 1 a.m. saying, "I'm low-key on the verge," and then emphasized it. And on the same day, later in the morning, April 2nd, hours before Carmelo Anthony would kill Metcalf with a knife at a high school track meet, prosecutors said Carmelo Anthony's girlfriend reported to a Centennial High School staff member that Carmelo Anthony was, quote, engaging in stalking behavior, to include but not limited to driving by her home and refusing to allow her to end the relationship. So this was already happening before this incident even took place, on the same day. I mean, that's pretty telling. That's pretty damning.
Sound like the news.
So, I mean, I'm simply saying that this information shows a pattern and probably inevitability on this dude's part. It doesn't sound like he was in a good track or in a good place. Also, how recent were these incidents with Metcalf? I don't know if it actually tells.
I
how
think the
long...
graffiti thing was like he was 16 with his brother, so it wouldn't have been that long prior.
Well, it says they were sentenced to 12 months of juvenile probation.
Yeah. Well, the incident, they were like 18, right? I think it said, maybe I misread it. Didn't it say in the article they were 16 years old when they got caught doing that?
So In 2021, he was banned from attending a baseball game after yelling profanity at a player, and then they were later suspended because him and his friend said that they were going to bring guns to.
I mean, regardless of whether Austin had a bad year or not, like.
I'm not even denying none of this. I'm simply saying this doesn't matter for Metcalf because Metcalf isn't the one that killed somebody.
Right,
No,
exactly.
but I'm saying,
Go ahead.
if the whole defense of Karmelo Anthony's side is that this guy was being aggressive and that he tried to de-escalate and the other person refused to de-escalate the situation, and because of, you know, the situation, him being outnumbered and stuff like that, he felt like he needed to defend himself. This gives reason to believe that, yes, he was actually possibly in danger based on this guy's history.
That could never be a defense, dude. He doesn't know his history. And there's no history of this guy actually hurting anyone.
He assaulted a girl. It's literally in
Okay,
there.
when I say hurting someone, I'm saying like life-threatening, right? That's your claim. He's life-threatening.
Well, that's usually not what people mean when they say hurt.
Okay,
I mean,
right, but your claim was the guy's life was in danger, right? And I'm saying there's no evidence to suggest that. And even if there was, he doesn't know about it.
He doesn't know who this fucker is. And moreover, like, I swear this is just a symptom of people who grow up in states where you're not allowed to defend yourself with a deadly weapon, that like they just don't understand when a deadly weapon can be employed.
And punched her in the stomach. Or state that he was also kicked out of a football game and later text somebody, I was about to beat the expletive out of those kids. So maybe I'm not, you know, using the right, you know, like legal jargon to like get across what it is I'm trying to say. But if the defense's case is like, hey, this person was being an aggressor, right? And prior to now, most people just believe, especially people in here, that this black kid just went up there looking for trouble, trying to fucking stab somebody. And what the actual case is that this other kid was also a piece of shit, maybe less of a piece of shit, but he was also a piece of shit. He's been an aggressor in the past, so that shows some type of
pattern of behavior.
Consistency, pattern of behavior. So if the defense's claim is, hey, he came out of nowhere aggressing our client did not want to leave the tent, right? This guy is not some type of he's not in some type of position of authority. So essentially, he's trying to forcefully remove this person against their will. This person is not going for it, and he tells them, "Hey, back off of me, or I'm gonna hurt you." And this guy says, "I don't believe you have anything in the bag," and then he ended up getting stabbed.
Yeah,
I don't see a
but
problem
you
with
can't
that.
claim that your life is in danger and simultaneously claim, no, I just didn't want to leave the tent. Like if he really thought his life was in danger, then it would be incumbent upon him to try to get out of the situation. And according to everyone there, including all the black people that testified, everybody was trying to get him to leave. So the idea that you're going to claim that your life is in danger when people are trying to make you get away from them, that's never going to fly. So just understand that's never going to be a viable defense. Secondly, what this article that you posted clearly shows is that this is somebody who's willing to commit violence, someone who is prone to violence, someone who's willing to use weapons to commit violence, which is the problem here. I'm not even willing to say that Metcalf isn't an aggressive fucking jock dickhead. Let's say that he is. He seems to be somebody who's willing to use his hands. At least in the case of Karmelo Anthony, because there were no weapons pulled except by Karmelo Anthony. So, look, he could have just walked away at any time from this situation. He chose to kill somebody, and this article clearly shows that he has a propensity for it, and he's willing to do it. This article also shows, by the way, that he too was engaged in racist behavior.
Wait, so Infinite, what are you talking about?
So from the race perspective, you could clearly say both of them had issues with racism in the past, according to what this article is saying about Karmelo Anthony's use of racial slurs. So, you know, look, I'm just telling you from the perspective, Metcalf is dead. He's not going to be on trial. But this information about Karmelo, they would have been much better off keeping this information quiet, because letting the information come out about Metcalf not going to do anything in compared to this information about Karmelo.
Yeah. Wait, so Infinite,
Well,
I
what's
just had
going
a
to do?
thought.
Isn't he already in prison?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he
No,
got a
he's not
new trial, or he's trying to
He's
get a
going
new
through
trial.
appeal.
So Infinite, if you
Oh,
look
yeah,
at
he's
the
always
pictures in the side chat, yo, Tony, I'm 100% sure I'm talking. Look at the side chat though. If you see the picture of Karmelo and the other guy, what I realized is Karmelo, he looks way different in the two pictures, right? And the other guy looks exactly the same after all this time. So that's the biggest difference between what happened. It doesn't matter if he's an asshole. He's dead.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
Okay. Anyway,
like, even if he was an asshole, like, he's the one that's dead right now. So,
yeah, that's not really
Okay, I'll
relevant to
turn
the
you down.
point here.
You
But
Yeah, like you can prove poor character. It just doesn't have anything to do with the conviction. Literally.
Yeah, either way,
also,
the guy still killed someone.
I'm just letting y'all know, because this just sounds like a lot of fucking commie state perspective on self-defense. Even in a free state, just because somebody's threatening to fight you does not mean you can pull a knife or a fucking gun on them. You have to believe your life is actually in danger. And somebody telling you, hey, get the fuck out of here, and their entire team saying, hey, get the fuck out of here, and you're the one being like, I don't want to fucking go. I can be here if I want. I can be here. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? You can't pull a knife in that scenario. You are the aggressor. You're in a place you're not supposed to be. The people who are allowed to be there don't want you there, and they're all telling you to leave. You need to leave.
And you can't call that de-escalation by any means. That's not
No,
de-escalation.
that
Escalation.
part. That listen, washed up dude should be in a defense attorney, because trying to call what he did de-escalation is, I don't even understand what he means.
It's the
by it,
opposite.
honestly.
It's the opposite of
I mean, he
de-escalation.
may mean something that I'm not aware of, but like,
What he means is brandishing a weapon in order to get the other person to stop trying to aggress on you. But that's only legal, by the way, in the state of New Hampshire. Every other state, you're not allowed to brandish a weapon unless you're planning on using it. New Hampshire in 2022 changed their carry laws, so you could brandish a firearm in order to de-escalate a fight, which is based, but unfortunately, that's the only state you can do it.
yeah, I mean, apparently he said to his girlfriend, "How many bullets you want coming out of your chest?"
What the fuck? That's
That's-
crazy.
I mean, to be fair, we don't know the dynamics between him and his girlfriend, and there's a lot of girls where guys saying
listen,
weird shit
I
like that.
agree, and I don't listen. And to put this into context and to be realistic about it, I know kids say a lot of dumb shit, especially on the internet age, the meme age. But the fact is,
Everything's
what this-
hyperbolic.
everything is hyperbolic. I agree. But what this does show is the notion that whatever you want to say about the person who was killed, you can say much more about the person who did the killing. So anything you want to point at here, racism, threats of violence, weapon brandishing, much worse on the end of Karmelo. So what I would say is, probably if you're the defense, don't even bring this up. Would have been best.
Just don't mention it.
It also says there are numerous unreleased photos and videos of Karmelo Anthony holding firearms and making threats. I mean, authorities found a note on Karmelo Anthony's phone with a long list of disturbing racial tropes and slurs about blacks, whites, and Hispanics. Which, I mean, in the internet age, I don't even take that serious.
That could just be meme culture.
Right. No, I
Also,
agree.
Washed Up said, like, he just wants a lower sentence, but he also said he doesn't see anything wrong with him, like, you know, having his hand in his backpack ready to pull the knife out. So, like, I feel like that's a bit of a contradiction. If you think what he did was totally fine, then I would think that you would think that he doesn't deserve any prison time. You think what he did was totally fine, then why do you think he deserves even 20 years or a reduced sentence? Why don't you just think he should be free?
I don't think that what he thinks he did was fine. I think his perspective is, one, a misguided perspective on what self-defense laws are in places like base states that he presumes are way more lenient to the person holding the weapon than they actually are. And two, that while the kid pulling a knife was incorrect and wrong, that he had more of a justification than a lot of people were saying that he did.
Well,
Which
God
I don't agree
knows
with him
I
on,
hate
but
to,
I think that's his perspective.
I hate to agree with Trax in any capacity, But at the same time, it does beg the question of, look, if you believe this was legitimate self-defense, why would he deserve any time? And I think
Right,
Washed Up Dude
exactly.
has said multiple times that this would have been defense in the sense that he believed his life was actually in danger. So, you know, I mean, Washed Up Dude can answer that if he's still here. I don't know. But
Yeah, I heard him specifically say like what he did was totally fine. So like it's totally understandable, justifiable that he would be, you know, like all the actions that he did before, you know, stabbing him were fine. So if you believe that, then I mean, it just doesn't make any sense to think that he deserves any time at all.
He said give him 10 minutes. Retarded.
Yo, Betty.
I want to bring up something a little bit prophetic by me. I want to brag on myself just a little bit. I said from the moment that Austin Metcalf's father went on stream and called Karmelo Anthony the watermelon felon, I said, I said in this chat, that was a bad idea because they will use that in a new trial, in an appeal, in order to claim it was based on race. And that's exactly what's happened. In this new trial that they are trying to get for him, they are using the videos from the father and the claim of, you know, calling him watermelon felon for that exact reason. So I don't remember who was in here telling me. I don't remember who was in here telling me, oh, that's not going to matter. It's not going to affect it. He can say whatever. There's no problem with this. But whoever you were wrong.
I think that was Walleye, to be honest.
I think Infinite. I think if I'm right.
Yeah. Walleye wasn't here when that was happening.
I think if I'm right, when I told you about that, I think you said at first you didn't believe it. Like
I didn't believe it because it was so outrageous. I couldn't imagine that this father who just lost his son and who people are trying to judge in this way would go out publicly on stream and say something that's going to obviously make people now look at the father and go, see, he is a racist. So obviously the son was too. That's retarded. That's a bad thing to do. That's a bad look for you. It's a bad look for your son. And, just as I predicted, now being used in the appeal to show that there was racism the whole time. So, yeah, that just wasn't a good look.
Yeah, of course it's going to use it against him, any little thing, especially the media.
They're going to use whatever they can to try to wear him out of the charge.
I wasn't done talking. Excuse me, Tony. In a time of weakness where the dad was down bad already, so it's easy for him to slip off like that, a tiny slip. Sorry, go ahead, Tony.
No, I mean, I already finished with those.
Well, I mean...
But yeah, I'm going to smoke some weed, dude. I'm so fucking pissed.
From what I understand about the case...
Wait, what happened by the way you found out your ex was fucking...
No, we're not going to Tony therapy hours, no.
I'm interested.
Well, then you can DM him about it.
Take it to him.
I don't know. It just feels like I got fucked. I'm getting fucked.
Guess what?
We don't care. We're not going down. We're not devolving into this shit where he comes in and changes the fucking conversation.
Yes.
If you're crying over pussy that quit you, you're being a non-man. Stop crying over pussy. Pathetic.
Yes.
Wait, what you gonna cry about?
Fucking Tony and Melissa and Javon, every time they come in here, hey, that's an interesting conversation y'all are having. Anyway, so the other day I got 50% off on eggs. You guys want to hear about it? No.
I mean, maybe y'all want to know about how to get 50% off on eggs, huh?
But did you break up with you? Why are you sad? What happened, Tony?
No. Oh my God.
Hey man.
Yo, shut
I'm not really sad. I'm just angry, dude.
I'm never a troll Gallist.
Yeah.
Yo,
I'm always so serious.
You're a troll. Always have been.
I was gonna ask, what about the one that got famous? With the cops, stepping on his neck. Harambe, yeah. It was
Yeah,
Harambe, right?
Eric Garner.
Harambe was the gorilla.
Yeah, literally.
Gorilla, bro.
The fuck?
Harambe was
Funny
a
how they
fucking
killed him.
gorilla.
So what was the thing that you asked Bamler, or was that Infinite that asked the question?
No,
I think
talking about
Infinite
Eric
asked you a
Garner
question.
after. You missed it.
I didn't.
Watch
I
it.
never brought those people.
No, I did. I brought up
So
Garner.
I would like to say one thing. If anything, it was the white people that were making this a racial thing, not the black people. You
No.
didn't see.
Get the
Did you
fuck
not
out of
see?
here.
Let
Did you
him
not
let
see
him
Jake
let
White?
him finish, and then I'm going to absolutely destroy this argument. But
Why?
please let him say it.
Why did Jake Lang have to go to jail?
For threats,
Against who?
people of color.
Based on what?
Carmelo Anthony.
All right, you have a person who's very well known.
Dude, the court protests, dude, they were all black people. There was literally
That's
like
not true. That's bro. We all watched the video. That's not true.
Okay, what are you saying's not true? Because I don't think you actually know what's happened. Are you aware of how many not white people have been arrested for the threats that were made? I really think that you might want to do some research on this before you dive into it, because I've done the research, and you can point at Lane, that's true, and I can point at about a dozen other people. I can point at people at the protests that day when the verdict came down.
Right.
Everyday people who were making claims of, don't come out of your house this weekend if you're white.
Right.
And
So
many
you might
other
have had, like,
other things that were said by black folk.
Right. So you had maybe 4 idiots, right? Maybe 12. I'll be generous. Maybe 12 idiots who were saying stuff like that, right?
You didn't watch anything, dude.
Generally, Hart. I don't know what you were doing, bro. Playing with Legos or something. You definitely weren't paying attention.
I'm playing a game.
So
But I can literally link the video where it was the whole hood.
I'm playing
They
with
were camping the
Legos.
fuck out.
that's fine,
It was
bro.
not 12 people.
Your
It was like
bionicles,
50
whatever
people.
you do over there, dude.
Yeah, I'll let Infinite destroy you. I'll be quiet. Go on.
So the thing is there was a specific group, maybe it is a small group that just had a loud voice, right? That were trying to pose this as, you see, black men are killing white men at a high rate, and we need to protect ourselves. That's the way that they were positioning this topic, all right? And I look at Jake Lang as somebody similar to the guy in the UK, Tommy Robinson, where his whole job is to try to inflame racial issues wherever they are, all right? So you have this guy setting up protests, having people come out, him on the microphone yelling at people in the street. You might have had people that were down at the courthouse. Again, I didn't agree with a lot of the stuff that they were saying to his dad when they were leaving the courthouse, saying that they're glad that his son died. That's ridiculous. But I think most people did not feel that way about that. Most people did not think,
how do you know?
hey, this kid is going to jail because he's, from the people I talked to, right? And from what I've ascertained from all the different voices I've heard on the topic, most of the black people weren't just like, hey, he's going to jail because he's black and they're going to try to do him wrong because he's black. That's just not what I heard. Now,
Yeah.
I did. Now, from the other side, I heard, hey, we need to protect ourselves, this and that, blah, blah, black animals, this and that. That's what I heard from the other side, which seems way more inflammatory.
From who?
Well, I would say Jake, but he got in trouble for it. So,
I've already conceded everything you asked about Jake. Besides Jake,
I got videos. I'll link them. Give me a second. But go ahead. What's your response?
so first of all, I would say that there were multiple arrests of people who were black because they were threatening violence directly. So not just one. Also, we have a myriad of both race hustlers, people who are professional at doing exactly what you're talking about Tommy Robinson is doing, not in the UK, but in the United States, pretending that this incident was based on race. Very famous people, by the way. And we have multiple celebrities who came out publicly claiming that this was a racist incident. We have dozens, tens of dozens of threats against the families of Metcalf, threatening to do violence to them, threatening to harm them, threatening to do violence to the brother. This is all public, by the way, and I will definitely be putting the information in the side chat. We have people that were on social media getting arrested, telling white people as a whole, not people who supported Metcalf, but if you're white, don't come out of your house this weekend. I would love to see the equivalent of that.
Was this like a large thing, or was this like one or two just losers, or is this like a...
I mean, son, how? Okay, look.
Well, I'm just asking.
I know you're asking, and I'm trying to think about my response because, one, I want to say this is a form of obfuscation. But at the same time, I do agree. You can't judge a whole group of people based on something that one person said. Okay? So I'm trying to decide how I'm going to accurately make an argument that judges or gauges what the sentiment is. But what I won't do is I won't say, well, based on the people I talk to. I don't think that's a good measurement. I don't think that's a good representation. And I also won't sit here and say, oh, it was the entire black community, blah, blah, blah. And by the way, I think there's plenty of white people who also would believe that what Metcalf did or what happened was based on race. In other words, not on the side of Metcalf, but against him. Because Lord knows there's no shortage of cucked-ass Caucasians that love to scream that everything that happens is racist. I mean, there's probably more of those, frankly.
Actually, yeah.
When we were initially having the conversation, I think that was when Failstaff was still around, and that was a lot of people's take, was essentially he went there like for this to take place. He went there with the intentions of this happening, which I'm just like, how? Like, based on what? And they're like, well, he's a black guy. Why would he come to a knife? Why would he come with a knife? This and that, blah, blah. And it's like, dude, I was a kid. I carried a knife with me everywhere I went. I never stabbed anybody. That wasn't family. And
wait.
And it's not that, you know, in certain areas, you know, you might need it, you might not, depending on where you at, you know, depending on things that may have happened in your past. It's, you know, we can't just make up our own reasons on why people should or shouldn't have these things in situations that we just deem, oh, well, I wouldn't have it there, so he shouldn't have it there. I don't think that that's a good justification to you know, say somebody is or isn't.
Yeah, but I'll agree. I've carried a knife on me since I was cool. Like, I've always had a knife on me. I've also never used it to stab anybody, whether to attack them or in self-defense. But I don't think you can take, like, Failstaff's arguments of, like, because he was there. Like, Failstaff's kind of a dummy, especially when it comes to blacks.
Yeah. But Bama, did you ever use it for anything?
Let me just say this. Let me just say a couple of things real quick. So, I agree with you on Jake, but I think when you look at the things that Jasmine Crockett said, by the way, this is a congressional representative. What she said is, I know Collin County, so absolutely this was based on racism. She said, I can tell you that I've had cases that have played out differently because of the counties that they were in. Unfortunately, that was not a county for a black boy, quote. She said, I would guarantee you if it wouldn't have happened, it wouldn't have happened. I don't even know if he would have been convicted. And then she concluded, quote, again, racism. Cardi B came out and said, wow, just freaking wow, disgusting. This is not justice. This is trying to make an example. Bree Newsome, a civil rights activist, said very clearly, Karmelo Anthony would have been treated totally different by the legal system were he a white boy killing a black boy. That's the whole point. That's what matters. Racism defines the entire system, end quote. This is a race hustler. As I said, we have celebrities, we have fucking congressmen, we have Jasmine Crockett. Angela Rye come out and said a black boy who had the nerve to protect himself against a white aggressor was found guilty. Dominique Alexander, another civil rights activist, said black lives do not matter in Collin County. And it goes on and on and on. So on the other side of the argument, yes, I'm not denying Jake as a political commentator, but I'm saying you have political commentators, you have celebrities, you have race hustling civil rights activists, you have sitting congressmen that were all claiming this was racism without a shred of evidence that it was racism, by the way, including all of the testimony from the black folks that were on the side of Metcalf, including the coach, who was black, by the way. So, look, I don't know how to gauge what people actually felt as a whole. There may be a poll out there I can pull up. I don't know. But it does seem to be the case when it comes to advocating for violence based on race, that one side of the political aisle and one side of this particular case had a monopoly on that, were okay to say it out loud and did so at will.
I mean, we know black people just have a lot more in preferences, so if they were taking the mask off, I mean, they're not defending them for their actions. They're just defending them because they're black. It's really simple. I mean, we can't know that for sure, but that's my presumption.
Dude, you should see some campuses, man. You think this is bad? Some campus, bro.
Does anybody? I'm not gonna lie, right? Because I do also agree with some of that stuff, not the stuff like specifically based on the county. Because I have no clue what the history is of the county. The only other thing that I was able to look up was there was another stabbing that happened at a high school in Texas where the kid ended up getting off because he was like getting bullied or whatever. But that guy stabbed the other dude way more times. He stabbed him like 5 times, where the guy even had entry wounds on his back because he was trying to crawl away, and he got away essentially, which I don't understand, right? But I'm not a person who thinks that, you know, he should just fully get off, because he could have walked away, right? Like, that would have been the best option, was for him to walk away. So because he didn't use everything at his disposal, something happened, right? So he shouldn't just get, you know, a slap on the wrist and get to go home. I don't know if this lady knows more about this county. Obviously, she seems like she knows something about this county. I don't know, so I'll have to look into it to see why she may feel the way she feels. I also do feel that if it was the opposite way around, not necessarily that I think he would have gotten off, but he may have gotten that 20 years that I think he should have gotten if the races were switched around. He may have gotten that manslaughter.
Mm-hmm.
Overnight, how you doing?
Overnight. Did I just block?
You know, it's gonna require something like, I wasn't trying to kill him.
And the knife immediately precludes that. The fact that he employed a knife, means that it can't be manslaughter. If you're going to use a deadly weapon, regardless of what your actual intention is, that the presence and use of a deadly weapon means you were attempting to kill somebody. That's how deadly weapons are always regarded in these instances. If I hit you in the thigh with a frying pan and you stab me, totally justified, because I'm attacking you with a deadly weapon.